Okay. Good evening and welcome to the June 13th, 2017 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the Village of Ossining. As technology improves in this room, we now have mics. So when you go up front, you will use a mic. We don't have to say to you any longer, use your outside voice, speak up, okay? So you can talk, as you can see, you can speak softly. So we're going to all remember that this is a quasi-judicial proceedings, a zoning board. And when we come up to speak, we're going to ask you to tell the truth under penalty of perjury. And we're going to open this starts off as a public hearing for all our different cases that we have. Then we will adjourn out of the public hearing and we will discuss the topics. And then sometimes we'll make a decision and sometimes we don't make a decision that day if we need more information. So we're going to start now. And we're going to start with ZBA 2013, which is Victoria Home, asking for an additional extension on their variance.
Do you want me to come up for that? Or?
Excuse me, that's right, you haven't seen our new setup. So walk around and you speak in the front of the room, and you have to walk this way because this computer wires everything. Right. Thank you, sir, and the mic is right there on the desk, and push the little button until it turns green.
So it turns what? It is green.
It's already done it for you.
Chairperson, Honorable Board, Mark, Lynn, Village staff, we're here for Victoria Home, requesting an extension of the ZBA approvals based on the building permit not being issued yet. As we explained last time, we were involved with a very extensive process with New York State for approval on a certificate of need for the nursing home expansion, and ultimately, in fact, just as with a letter dated June 9th of 2017, they finally issued approval, but not for 120 beds, for 90 beds. So it's actually going to be smaller than originally proposed, and we want an extension of the current variances in case those are what we need, but we may be back actually asking for less based upon the redrawing now of the project to be smaller in scope.
Okay, so the whole process has taken a lot longer than you had anticipated, and your variance extension. Do you foresee us moving forward in the next 6 months?
Yes, absolutely.
The 6-month extension, huh?
Speaks pretty loud.
This is Craig Girl, CFO of Victoria.
Right, understood. It's, we're asking for a 6-month extension.
Oh, no, it's not an instrument, it's just.
You know what, I am a good time. The requirements by the Department of Health, there's several contingencies that we have to meet before we actually start construction. And one of them is to make sure we get construction started by January 1st, 2018. But we plan to be heavily into that process at that time.
That will be 6.5.
Well, financing and all that stuff is gonna have to get in there. So, yeah, well, obviously, we may have to ask for a short additional extension, but we do have to get the project started rather soon, rather quickly. Any questions from anyone?
Anybody have any questions? Is there anybody from the audience that would like to speak on this matter, which is Victoria Home, extension? No, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Will there be a vote on that this evening?
Yes. ZBA 1216 Executive Property Group is still adjourned. Here's your mic.
We're actually before the Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees sent a recommendation to the Planning Board, and they're before the Planning Board, and they just submitted the additional information the Planning Board requested. So they'll be before them in June.
Before the planning board.
Before the Planning Board, and the Planning Board also sent back a recommendation to the Board of
Okay.
Trustees.
Very good. ZBA 2116, Baker, owner, Fulton Avenue. We got a letter this evening that they're asking for an adjournment.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we'll adjourn the Baker property on Fulton Avenue. Okay, are you standing? Adjourning. Oh, okay. You're blocking the camera. Okay, ZBA 1217 11 Hudson Street. This particular, so you want to talk about this? Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip somebody? Oh, I'm looking at the old agenda. I apologize, I was looking at an old agenda, sorry about that. Yeah, ZBA 0617, 7 Bellevue Avenue. Applicant is seeking to add a driveway in front of his house where there is no current driveway.
Good evening, Jamie Hernandez, our architect representing Mr. DiCenso. We already been in front of the board and received a variance to construct a driveway in front of the house. Since then, he has been in contact with the village management, and he has a lease to use part of the parking encroaches on the village right away. So he has gotten lease with the company, with the village, to be able to park in there. So now that brings us back here because we don't feel it's not a full parking space within his property line. We only fit 15 feet, 13 feet of they require 18 feet. So that's demands an additional variance of 5-foot reduction on the amount of parking space within the property line.
Does that put you on the sidewalk?
No,
I think part of the agreement between the village and the applicant was that it not impede or obstruct the sidewalk in any way. There's still a right of way that is beyond the sidewalk that the village owns, and that's what the village is allowing him to use to construct the driveway.
So we need to give him the variance.
Exactly.
I just told not to do too much to. So we need to give them an additional variance for 5 feet after all the agreements were done with the village.
That's correct, yes.
I know, you won't park a car on the sidewalk, right?
if you can, we can see here that this is the property line here, and this is the sidewalk. So the full parking space would be beyond the retaining wall.
Is there anyone here that's here to speak on 7 Bellevue? Thank you. Okay, now that I'm working on the right agenda, let's do ZBA 1217, 11 Hudson Street. Want to speak on that?
Yes, this was an application, in essence, for an interpretation, at least that's how the board viewed it. I believe it was denoted as an application for a variance. It's really an application for an interpretation of the zoning code, the text of the zoning code. There's a provision, this is in the PRD, there's a provision in the PRD that requires 3 acres in order to develop the property. The applicant only has 2/3 of an acre. The applicant was looking for an interpretation basically to get for the ZBA to allow a ratio for density bonuses, for density for dwelling units. And the bottom line is there was some discussion last week, I don't believe the applicant was here, but there was some discussion of the application. And I believe that the way that it has come out from a legal standpoint is that the board does not have the jurisdiction, the authority to vary those terms of the code. And so the only remedy that the applicant would then have would be to go back to the Board of Trustees and request an amendment either to lessen the 3-acre requirement or to provide perhaps the zoning board with some type of mechanism that would give you the discretion to vary the terms of those particular provisions of the ordinance.
And so we will be taking, since we went over this all last time, we did decide on it, but we're gonna take another vote this evening when we have one.
That's correct. This is an interpretation which is a little bit different from the traditional variance.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak on 11 Hudson Street? Okay. 38, ZBA 1617, 38 to James Street. Got a revised application in the mail. Hello.
Okay, obviously I'm Susan Reardon, the architect for my client,
Louis Saavedra.
and we're looking now to put a 2-car garage. He's given up the idea of a recreation center. So basically we brought it down to just below 750 square feet. It has the proper setbacks of 5 feet from the side and rear yards. I understand that we also need to get variances for the existing residence, which has a side yard of 0, and let's see, the front yard. All right, and a side yard of 0, a front yard of 6 feet, which is obviously, this house was built a long, long time ago before zoning, so we would just like to legalize the existing house as well. Any questions?
Well, you need 9.8 feet on both sides, right? Which one, you wanna make it 9.8 feet on both sides, or 28 feet? Yeah, I'm reading from your letter.
Oh yes, 28 feet is required for both sides, and it's 9.8. 12 is one side, it's 0. Front yard is 30, existing is 6. The lot width should be 75, it's only 34.58, and the lot minimum should be 7,500 square feet, but it's only 3671.14. And we're good on the rear yard, so.
So Susan, the only 2 variances that result from the garage are the impervious coverage and the building coverage?
That's correct. Currently, the whole back is paved, but we're gonna bring some of that back with gardens and permeable surfaces, so we go from 100 down to 67, and it's an improvement of 27%.
How are we gonna do that this month?
I hope so.
Because, no, I mean, we're gonna put the gardens back, because last month we were gonna put the gardens back, right?
Yeah, my wife is happy. I don't have
Just for the record, I think on the zoning worksheet, the one side yard should say variance is needed 12, not 0.
Oh, that's correct. Any other questions?
Any questions, anybody? Yes.
So you think we'll have a vote day on this?
We most likely will, and you do realize that once this starts, that the building department will be to visit you to make sure it is the size and
That's
everything.
fine with me, you guys can come over and have dinner.
Okay, well, we don't have to have dinner. All right, thank you. Is there, oh, excuse me, is there anybody here to speak on 38 James Street?
Thank you.
Not seeing anybody? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna talk, okay. With ZBA 1717, 35 Croton Avenue, applicant is looking for a variance to put a residential unit into a basement.
Good evening, everybody.
Please take the.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hilda. I'm representing Luis Sadi today for 35 Croton Avenue. Sorry. I work with Alfred Capelli Architects, so we're here in front of you guys to present, we propose to legalize the basement. As of now, it's an existing structure and it's available 903 feet. So we're proposing to finish the basement and, in the village commercial area, which is allowed to have multifamily, residences, but, since this is in the basement, it's not legal to have in the basement. We are also proposing to have private parking spaces off-site. So we also submit in our application the leases that we have as of now, but the reason number one why we believe it's not feasible to have a commercial space in that area is because the main entrance to that space is through the back. And it won't be available to see, it won't be visible from the street, the streetscape. So, I can walk you through the plan if you guys have it in front of you.
I wanna make something perfectly clear to you. In your particular instance, your commercial properties are actually like 8 to 10 steps up. Your first floor is up.
Yes,
So that's your commercial properties. Then above that, you have housing. Right?
it's a
So you're trying to legalize a basement that's below even that.
correct. But the basement is 60% off ground. So basically, if you see the pictures that I submitted, the rear is on grade.
Is there anybody here that's here to speak on, I just wanna get the number right. 35 Croton Avenue? All right, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, Marcus, I'm sorry.
I wasn't clear on what you were talking about with the parking spaces.
Oh, as of now, there's no feasible way to create a parking space on site. So what we're proposing for the future space, if we get approved, then we'll have an off-site parking space. We already have a lease for the other apartments above. So we will also do the same thing for the new apartment if approved. Yes, and just extend, like for another parking space.
Where are the existing parking spaces that you're using? Where are they?
Oh, they're across the street. I submitted a lease, document to with the application. It's on the other side of the street, so.
So how many apartments do you have upstairs?
Three.
3 in that one building?
Yes, 3 in the building.
And then the storefront is empty currently?
It's one apartment already, that's the.
There's no storefront, it's it's a three-family, they're actually, this would be the fourth one on the basement. There's already residential on the first floor, the second floor, and the third floor. And in the, those center.
This isn't coded to have residential.
No, actually, you're supposed to have business on the first floor, so it's already a non-conforming use.
Does it have the approvals for that?
It's pre-existing.
That's existing as a pre-existing non-conforming use. They're trying to basically, by doing the basement, they'll be extending further on.
So the first floor that used to be a lawyer's office is now an apartment, is that what you're telling me?
Right, that's what's there now.
And when did that get approved to be an apartment?
That I'd have to go back to the records and look that up. I don't have that information.
These are 2 buildings that are very much alike that sit next door to each other. And they were both lawyers' offices on
No,
the.
that's the different, that's 2931.
Okay, I'm sorry,
This is a
that's,
few houses.
okay.
up Croton Avenue.
Just to clarify, he bought the house in 2002 and there was always 3 apartments. Okay.
And also for for the zoning worksheet, they have, required 5 spaces. They're proposing 5, but they're not on the property. Right, so I don't know, is that still a request of the variance for parking on?
Yeah, we'll deal with the apartment in the basement. All right, thank you very much.
Would there be any voting this week, tonight? Should we wait any comments from anybody?
That's the extent of the evidence that's being presented. You can close the public hearing, and close the public hearing.
Tonight?
Usually you close the public hearing since the
Okay,
informal.
since the other. All right, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the first one is Victoria Home, 25 North Malcolm, extension for 6 months. Finally got their approvals. Does anybody have any issues with that? Doing another extension, George?
I move that we. Extension.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Adjourned. 7 Bellevue, he needs the 5-foot extra feet.
Seems good to me, I'll.
As long as he doesn't park on the sidewalk. Right. Right. Does anybody have any requirements with that, as long as we put in the thing that he doesn't park on the sidewalk? Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 11 Hudson is going to be a vote that it needs to go back before to the Board of Trustees, which is the village board, because it is not in our jurisdiction to change zoning. Do I have a motion?
Motion to
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Excellent. 38 James Street. Applicant is looking for an area variance to construct a accessory structure, which he says is a garage. See, now it still says the, is that just the old, on the agenda, is that just the old verbiage?
The new application indicates that
It's
it's
a-
a use for a garage.
Garage, right? Okay, with some garden space. So anybody have any questions on that? Do I have any questions for Laura?
Down to reality.
Yeah, just go with that, it makes sense.
Okay.
Move to
Move to approve the two-car garage for, 38 James Street. We have a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Marcus.
35 Croton Avenue, wants to put a basement apartment in.
Just two things on this. First, if the request is for a use variance, obviously the proof was not submitted. The use variance requires proof that the applicant cannot realize a reasonable return provided.
Look into the mic point.
Oh, yeah, sure. As far as this is concerned, the application is for a use variance, which requires that the applicant prove by, generally by expert testimony, that every permitted use in that district will not yield a reasonable return on their investment. Obviously, there didn't seem to be proof of any sort other than the request. The second thing is, in the VC district, much like one of the applications that we just had, residential dwelling units shall only be permitted above non-residential uses. No part of any residential unit shall be located on the ground floor, partially below grade, or in a basement. So again, this is a situation where I don't think that this board has the authority to change the statute. You can do the dimensional requirements, that's the area variance, the use variance, if certain enumerated factors are proven. But this is certainly a prohibition. I think the Board of Trustees' idea was they don't want basement apartments. And so I would just indicate that in keeping with past precedent, decisions you've already made, basement apartments aren't allowed. I don't think you can vary the terms of that provision of the ordinance.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, so we take a vote?
Yeah, motion to deny the application.
Second.
And all in favor? Sorry, Mike. Aye. Okay, so this evening we have one other item on our agenda. It's called an informal presentation at 12 Ellis Place. Thank you.
This is just the pictures from the house training everyone. And this is right, we have covered it out or no?
So if I could just set this up for the board, this is an informal application, but there has been an application filed for an interpretation of the zoning code text for the two-family zone, and also for definitions. There's a definition of what a two-family dwelling unit is. The ZBA has taken a look at the application itself. Tonight it's on for an informal. It will be on next month for a formal, but I think based on the initial sort of prima facie review of the application, that almost as a matter of law, this was a two-family house. Apparently at some point, the units are side by side. At some point, one of the units was converted into a professional office. The applicants are looking to just turn it back into a dwelling unit. it's in a two-family zone. There's some debate about whether a two-family dwelling unit could be side by side. What the code basically says is, as long as they're separated by a partition, either horizontally or vertically, but they can't be a party wall. And just to give you a little background, a party wall is basically a common wall. It's generally built on the boundary of two adjoining pieces of property, generally owned by two different people, and it shares the same. The two property owners share that one wall. This case is a little different. It's all on one piece of property. You can have, for a two-family dwelling unit, you can have a vertical partition, and so they'll put on their application, but I wanted to give you a little bit of background.
So, hi, like I said to everybody, so yeah, that's what we're thinking to do. We just bought the house recently, so, I mean, it's only 4 of us, and I have my parents. I was trying to see if they can move with us in the other apartment, but that's why we're trying to see if we can get the permits.
Do you know when it was converted to a professional office?
The question was, do you know when it was converted to a professional office?
To answer that question, the application was submitted in 1956, and the CO was issued in 1972, I believe.
To make it a professional office?
The original CO for the building was issued in 52, and that was for two-family.
So in essence, it's a two-family house that went and made a professional office, and all they want to do is go back and be a two-family house.
Yeah, it was a dentist office years ago,
Right.
so I don't need the dentist office anymore. Yeah. So that's it.
That's it.
And I also submit to do in the back, like this has a basement to the back, but the water was already going in, so we're trying to fix it a little bit. So my husband wants to do like a regular stairs going to the back.
That's really a building permit issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they submitted 2 separate applications. One was to convert a professional office back into an apartment, and the second one was just to create a staircase to their basement. But they're 2 different applications.
Thank you so much.
I wanna apologize that it took so long.
I
Okay.
know.
I do apologize to you.
Thank you.
But I can see that if it was two-family, went to a professional, and goes back to two-family. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody.
We'll have to notice it.
Yeah, we're gonna notice that we're going to be taking a formal vote next month. I know they just spoke to you on the phone about this too. And, but you don't have to physically come, okay? Because you can call and say that their permits are ready, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So that will be it for us, right?
That would be it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Now, I always worry when we have extra people sitting in our room.
Yeah, this is 22 Sabrina Lane.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
This is the one where there was an error in what was given to for variance.
Are you both trying to?
Yeah. It was freezing.
Oh, I see. Listen, when you go outside, you'll.
I know.
We're freezing inside.
Oh, yeah, so 22 Sabrina Lane, we approved, probably a month or two ago.
Yeah, what ended up happening was the architect that they hired, on the survey, when it was presented to the board, he drew in the side yard deck with the dimensions, and I think what he probably tried to do is he tried to use the scale that was done by the surveyor. When the board granted the variance, I had asked them to get an updated survey, and of course the survey came out with different dimensions. They were off about 8 inches or so. So they need to change the variance to include an additional 8 inches.
So I think this is a good lesson for us all, in as much as when we ask, when you ask, it has nothing to do with you guys, okay? But when you ask, when we get a survey, it has to be either an up-to-date survey or all the stamps have to be on it with no, it's not drawing on a survey. And I think that's important because we don't want, number one, we don't want people to have to come back again. And number two, we want to be consistent with every property that we see before the zoning board. I think that's very important. We have had many people go back and have surveys done again, you know, to do something like this, okay?
Can I just ask, Joe, I think weren't there two variances, one was the side yard and then both side yards?
Yes, one was the side yard, and then that will also affect the variance for the two sides.
So both are increased by 8 inches, is that?
Correct. That's your choice. The difference was they proposed, you gave them a variance, I think, for a 5.88. And they actually need a variance, I believe, for, it increased to 6, actually 6.4. When you translate it out into inches, it's like 8 inches. And that's for the one side, and on the both sides, it's gonna increase to like 7.6 or something. They just need a change.
Well, this particular time, we were doing it because you have the house on the market, right? So it's good to always have an updated survey anyway for that. So again, we just want to emphasize to everybody that when they come before they come before the zoning board, when they go to the building department, they should be thoroughly prepared with all their paperwork, including explanations as to the hardships, if they need hardships, to have some other, not this small variance that we're talking about, but other actions taken. Well, thank you.
You probably would want to take a vote just to amend the original resolution to include those two, the 8 inches to both.
Okay, so I hope they heard Mark, because for some reason, I can hear me, but I can't hear you. So we'll take a vote on increasing the variances by the 8 inches. Is it the two side yards?
It's the side yard. It's the side yard and both side yards.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. We have one more item to this evening. Today is Marcus's last zoning board meeting, and he will be missed very, very much. And I'm going to, I am terrible, last name's Marcus. Hyacinth? Like a flower. Okay. So we have a proclamation for Marcus from the Board of Trustees, and it's in honor of Marcus Hyacinth. The Board of Trustees in the Village of Ossining recognizes individuals who have shown exemplary commitment and dedication to the community. And we acknowledge outstanding service that contributes to the quality of life in Ossining. And since Marcus was appointed to the Village Board of Zoning Appeals on April 1st, 2005, wow, not only the time, but April 1st, he has served the Village of Ossining by giving his time for more than 12 years as a member of the ZBA. He and his fellow board members work diligently to improve the community of Ossining. And Marcus's dedication to his community is evident, always giving careful consideration and assuring fair review of each application brought before the Zoning Board of Appeals. While trying to balance the vision for the future, he has always stayed mindful of ensuring that the beauty and charm of our community is preserved. And the residents of Ossining have benefited greatly from Marcus's service, and commitment to our community, and it's appropriate that he be recognized by the village. So hereby, I, Victoria Garrity, but Mayor of Ossining, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, do hereby recognize Marcus for his service and urge all our residents and merchants to join us in honoring him. Thank you very much, Marcus, for all your hard work that you did since 2005. Wow, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You want to say anything, or? Okay.
Thank you for the proclamation. 2005, it has been that long. But anyway, I I did join the zoning board because I was new to Ossining and I wanted to get to know the community better. I wanted to get to know the people and how the people in the community lived. And I learned an awful lot being on the zoning board. And it was a pleasure to serve with when Jim was the chairperson and Suzanne's the chairperson. And, it's been a pleasure. And like I said, I've learned a lot. My family has a scholarship and a foundation, and we serve the needs of young people. I've been appointed to, well, I've been voluntold that I had to
I love that term,
Take-
voluntold.
I had to take a leadership role in the foundation. So that has been occupying a great deal of my time, and at some point, in some juncture, you have to make some decisions. So I had to, of course, serve the needs of my family and their foundation. So regrettably, I had to withdraw from the zoning board. But I thank everybody who's been on the zoning board, past and present, and just hope for a lot of future success, and I hope that you find a good replacement for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus, and you will be missed. So this is the end of our zoning board meeting for June 13th, 2017. We'll see you in July.